Okay, everybody, welcome to another episode of, well, I guess it's not really an episode, it's just the Scrubcast. My name is Solaris Quixote. I am also known as Solaris X. The Scrubcast is by and for scrubs, people who don't know what they're doing, like myself. The whole point of this Scrubcast is to follow a particular hero played by a very good operator, a very good player, and see how they contribute to the game overall, see exactly what they're doing at any given part of the game. Normally you get into these casts, and what you see is a big picture. They scroll between each person, they go to the one team, they go to the other team. You're not really looking at the perspective of one player, and you're not really seeing the play style of that player and how they are setting things up properly, how they are playing the hero. So what I'm going to do in this particular cast is I'm going to play the Epicenter Moscow finals between, this is I guess it's upper bracket perhaps, but anyway, it's the Moscow finals, the Epicenter finals in Moscow, and it's Team Liquid versus Evil Geniuses. We are going to be looking at a lineup here. This was the game one, by the way. The lineup was Tusk, Beastmaster, Lone Druid, Dragon Knight, Ancient Apparition, which was a last-minute surprise pick by Team Liquid. The Bounty Hunter, Darkseer, Winter Wyvern, Death Prophet, and Chaos Knight by Evil Geniuses. And for those scrubs that don't know, Team Liquid is basically one of the very best teams in the entire world right now, doing very, very well. They actually won Epicenter Moscow, so congratulations to them. Evil Geniuses, of course, being the winners of the last International, having some roster changes there, losing Universe and Arteezy to Team Secret. They picked up Aoi 2000, which helped them actually win at the International, and they picked up Bulba. And so what I'm going to watch this game, though, is Mind Control. I'm going to watch his Beastmaster. He plays a really mean Beastmaster, and actually the reason why I'm casting this particular game is because I was watching it for fun, and I found that he was doing some really amazing things. And I thought, I really don't know how to play Beastmaster. I'm quite clueless. I'm not a very good micromanager, so little summons and constantly moving things around the map is not my strong suit. But I've always kind of wanted to learn his role, better understand what he's doing in the lanes, why they pick him. In this particular case, you can see the setup was he was picked second. He was picked after Tusk, and Team Liquid really heavily favored Tusk. Jerax, I think, always plays Tusk, and if he can, he's just such a terrific hero for them. They've done so well. Pretty much their success lately seems to be built on a Tusk as a core. So they almost always pick it, kind of like Pylite Dies Lion. Jerax is on the Tusk. And Liquid Mind Control is also, as very often as possible, it seems like, on the Beastmaster. He plays other heroes, but this is his strong suit. In this particular setup, it's not. They could change up a little bit, but it seems like what they're going to play it is a Dragon Knight mid, Ancient Apparition, support and safe lane with the Lone Druid, farming safely, a roaming Tusk, and an off-lane Beastmaster. Evil Geniuses, they pick up the Death Prophet in mid, so it should be Dragon Knight versus Death Prophet, potentially with some Winter Wyvern support on mid. You have Darkseer, is almost definitely going to be in the off lane, probably with the Bounty Hunter, because of that little Ion Shell invisibility combo is very powerful, can really force people out of the lane, with a safe lane farming Chaos Knight, which means that most likely what you're going to have here is a Beastmaster up against a Chaos Knight. So they pick a Chaos Knight into a Beastmaster in the off lane. Beastmaster, not really a lane dominator, I would say. I guess he's got a few attributes in that area with the little boars that can potentially put pressure on, and we're going to see exactly how Mind Control plays this, and I think you'll be delighted with some of his play in this game. So we're going to get right into it here. Let me fast forward. Okay, so the game is apparently paused at the moment, but after they get through the pause, I want to go ahead and put this on Mind Control's perspective. I do not want to watch other players. I want to watch what he does. I want to watch everything he does, all of his decisions, because you typically only see the big decisions by the whole team and the big team fights. The casters do a good job of that, but they don't do a good job of following in particular heroes. You also see a lot of casts where you've got, Dendy's Pudge, and they show the highlights of all Dendy's Pudge hooks, but they don't show the setups. They don't show how kind of the slow parts of the game, how it's set up. So starting off here, I do want to go ahead and pause for a second. I want to start doing this for each hero. I want to talk about the hero's basic abilities and what it is. So Beastmaster starts off with 660 health. Not a ton of health, but that's actually a decent amount, especially if you consider the 4 armor on the Beastmaster. That's pretty good. A number of heroes start off with much less armor than that. 310 run speed, not terrible. Only 66 damage. Not the most, I don't think. Not the least. He's strength hero. Starts off with 23 strength, a little bit less agility, and a lot less intelligence. He has these wild axes, which appear they're physical damage axes. They're pretty high mana cost, 120 mana. They have a very long range. 1300 range is very long. But what appears to be, and they have a decent amount of damage, but not a lot. Very low cooldown as well. These appear to be pretty good at just clearing out trees, helping Beastmaster farm through trees. And I think we'll see later on how that is used. Then we have this Call the Hawk and Call the Wild Boar. It's really 1 point you put in there, and you level up both of these at the same time. The Hawk, which anybody who's played Dota realizes is once you see the Hawk, you're probably screwed, because that means that they have vision of you. You probably didn't notice the Hawk until it's too late, and you're probably about to be ganked. A little bit of health. It's not really a high health thing. It's mostly just kind of a one-hit kill if somebody finds it. It moves decently fast as it gets leveled up. It does have a really crappy range to start with, but it's enough, and then it goes up over time to quite a bit of sight in the daytime. And even in the nighttime, 950 sight range, it's up for 60 seconds, but that gets dropped. Or the cast time gets dropped from 42 seconds down to 30 seconds. It's only 15 mana. That's one of the best parts of this. And the equivalent here, or the other animal here you can summon, is the boar. And that's boar health start at 200. It takes a little bit more of a beating. It does have a small amount of attack damage, 15, plus the 66 of the Beastmaster. Can actually do decently, but the real, I think, benefit here is the boar does a attack slow and a movement slow. So if you put it on the enemy in the lane, the enemy is going to be they're not going to move as quickly. And that's actually rises pretty quickly. Look at that movement slow, 40% movement slow. And all it has to do is apply that poison. And it's 3 seconds, but it should be pretty good later on in the game when you can really slow an enemy down that needs to escape, or you can slow an enemy down that's chasing you. But the attack speed is also really good. The boar attack slow is -40. For certain heroes, that's really nasty. Once again, it's just like the Hawk, its duration cools down quite rapidly. The duration is consistent, but the cooldown on the cast and the ability itself is much lower as time goes on. And it's always going to be 15 mana, meaning that these two scale really well. You want to put a lot of points in them early to get a significant advantage. Versus the Wild Axes, I'm not seeing any real benefit there for scaling it. So it makes sense to maybe put only a point of Wild Axes to get you out of trees if necessary, or to get into trees. The other thing that the Beastmaster has that's really nifty is this Inner Beast. It's an aura. It's 900 radius. I don't think we can see it maybe later, but it's a pretty decent radius. It's about the vision of the Hawk at night. But its attack speed bonus is really nice. And when you have certain heroes in the game, like a Ancient Apparition that is potentially going to get bonus attack damage to a particular enemy, so all your allies hitting that enemy are going to take additional, I think it's magic damage. Well, the additional attack speed from the Inner Beast is deadly. It's going to do a ton of damage. And if you consider also the Lone Druid's Bear is potentially going to get the little trap, the little thing that grows up, the little snare, that thing attacks faster when it's around this Inner Beast aura. And that's what you want. You want to be able to get those snares, those snags as quickly as possible. And finally, they have the Primal Roar. And this is so good because it is an AoE spell-piercing stun for 5 seconds. Actually, 4 seconds if they've nerfed it. I think it used to be 5, but it's just ridiculous. This thing gets upgraded by Epicenter, and which I don't think most people get that. They don't have that money by the end of the game, but it does a decent amount of damage. It's got a decent width on the cone. It does a 50% movement slow and a 50% attack slow, which is also very damaging. The slow duration is, of course, the same as the stun duration, so I'm not sure that exactly helps in some circumstances. But it's a 950 scepter cast duration, and the cooldown's even lower on a scepter. So it's a very good spell, only 200 mana to cast it. He doesn't have the ability to do that right now, but as he stacks his int and as he gets a few items, he'll be able to cast Primal Roar and call the Wild Boar, call the Hawk, all very, very low mana cost. He really is only casting Primal Roar and occasional axes in the right circumstances. This Inner Beast is a passive. So moving forward, I think we're going to watch a hero that is really designed for vision, a little bit of push because of the boars. You can summon the boars, and mostly team fight with this AoE, really good AoE stun, and the Inner Beast aura. So he starts off, he's clearly going to go in the off lane here. He's immediately just want to keep track of what's going on throughout the game of these summons. So he immediately sends a Hawk over here. He doesn't want to get ganked from the left. He immediately wards up. He buys a ward and wards up this area. I guess he's trying to see... I guess he's just trying to get some vision to make sure that nobody come up in this area. He's going to go somewhere else. You can see he's all the way back at the base. He picked up a Fairy Fire.
30 seconds to battle.
From the courier. And he is just seeing whether anybody's moving through there while he was away. That makes a lot of sense. But also he wants to be able to see if there's going to be any ganks later on coming through the forest here, coming through the jungle. And this ward is going to be able to protect him from that. He starts off with a Stout Shield. He's going to need that. He's probably going to take some damage from the creep wave. Also take some damage from whoever's going to be laning against, like Chaos Knight. He actually gets this Bounty Hunter unopposed and way up. On the other Bounty Rune, it looks like Team Liquid do a very good job of killing a Bounty Hunter early on. He goes an Iron Branch and a Fairy Fire, telling you he wants to be able to do some decent damage. This is probably a jungling setup, right? You've got the ability to protect yourself against creeps. You've got the Iron Branch, GG Branch there, best stats for the money in the game. You have the Fairy Fire, you've got the Wild Boar. You should be able to do a little bit of farming. You can see he's already has stacked up here, or queued up the Quelling Blade, so he can do much more damage to the creeps. The first thing he does is he sends the Boar up against PPD on the Winter Wyvern, and Owie actually uses his gap closer, the Reality Rift, to immediately kill that boar. And that's the power of that boar. Because otherwise, the attack slow in Ally potentially changes his attack animation, and he can potentially put Mind Control can put pressure on PPD. PPD is only going to be able to attack one of these two targets when he attacks. So he's attacking the boar, and he's not attacking Mind Control. So once again, Owie uses Reality Rift. Oh, and a nice little deny there by Mind Control. But he uses the Reality Rift to close the gap, get that boar out of the game. And that's very important. That helps PPD and Owie prevent the damage from Mind Control just by this boar constantly hitting you, attack slow, the damage over time, and the movement slow. Now, Mind Control is actually being much more aggressive than I would probably be. Obviously, he knows this here really well. In Winter Wyvern, I guess he knows he actually had a little bit less mana than he needed in order to cast his... What ability is it? Cold Embrace. I'm surprised. Cold Embrace might have potentially helped kill, but it also heals, so... Also, they have a gap closer on Chaos Knight anyway, but Mind Control is being much more aggressive than I anticipated, and you'll see, just where is he putting his boar and his hawk. He's got a boar way up there, way up here. Appears to be looking for Bounty Hunter, because Bounty Hunter potentially will do courier snipes. And where's the hawk? I do not know where the hawk is at the moment. He actually is not casting the hawk, but he pulls both boars over here. Looks like he's going to start jungling. He was able to save a lot of money with the Quelling Blade. He goes after the big creep first, uses the remaining health of the boar to get killed, to soak up some damage from that big Minotaur, is that what that is? Creep there. Taking a decent amount of damage, and he's already burned through his 4 tangos just trying to get in lane. He was pretty low level. He was getting outlaned pretty easily. His boar was getting killed, so he had to leave the lane. He wasn't able to put any pressure on. He wasn't getting very much experience, and he was potentially risking feeding a Chaos Knight, which is not a good idea. He's going to continue farming. He really wants to get, I'm guessing he's going to go for the Iron Branch here. He really wants to get that as fast as possible. There is a fight in mid. See what he does. Okay, he immediately moves toward mid to see what's going on. Put it back attack on player perspective. Yeah, so his focus was on mid. He left mid, or he was leaving his farming to go do that. He finally buys the rest of the components here for his Iron Talon. I guess he's going to go ahead and start attacking this tomato here. So it's interesting he keeps going for the big creeps, and I guess that makes sense because he has the boar. He wants to be able to absorb the most damage with that boar. The big creep does the most damage. He wants to do the most damage possible. The Iron Talon's the big guy, gets the big guy out of the game. He's going to keep switching the target of the creep damage between himself and the boar. He's only going to put the damage on the boar when he's either low health or when it's sufficient time when the thing is about ready to die. So, yeah, he was getting low health. He wanted to finish it up there. He pops a Clarity. He's got the Fairy Fire still. He's not going to use that probably. He wants that extra damage. He's going to skip these. No, he's going to go for these guys. Iron Talon's up. Mud Golem summons the other boar as soon as he has it. He's still not using the Hawk. I guess they have pretty decent vision on the map. You can see that, I'm looking at my mini-map here, if he was looking, he saw a blue guy there. But he's got some vision over here. He's probably seeing some guys coming in. He's kind of moving out of the way. I'm not sure. He doesn't yet see the bounty hunter next to him. He sees him now, and he's already moving out of the way. So that was very smart of him. If he saw the two people coming in, that ward over there to the west caught an attack. He probably knew the bounty hunter was going to be in the area. He might have even sensed it with the reduced experience gain due to sharing that experience with the bounty hunter, so he got the hell out of dodge. Didn't want to get ganked. Nice gank avoid there. If he was actually paying attention there, might have been serendipitous for him, but my guess is Liquid or Mind Control knows what he's doing and did not avoid that unintentionally. So he's putting, as I suspected, only 1 point wad axes, presumably to get the hell out of the area or be able to attack an enemy if they're in the jungle, hiding in the trees. He's got 2 points and the Call of the Wild, so he can continue to reduce the cooldown and increase the damage and health of the boars. He wants to be, this is his farming mechanism. He also has a point Inner Beast, which is going to increase the attack speed of the boar and all of his other allies. Nice thing to get. You're not going to get a whole lot of scale out of this Wild Axes, especially if you have so much mana. And he wouldn't even be able to cast Wild Axes at this point, but the Inner Beast is going to be much better for him. He's got 890 gold. I'm not sure what he's going to do with this. I'm surprised he hasn't bought boots. His courier is currently free. Maybe he's saving up for an item here. But all he's doing is farming. And he is allowing the Chaos Knight to free farm. And at my scrub level, people always yell at me if I leave the lane. Oh, the Chaos Knight's free farming. It's like, you know, you need to get some levels on a Beastmaster. You need the level 6 Roar. Once you have the Roar, you can start participating in team fights. But you're pretty useless until then. I mean, at this level, the Wild Boar is not going to do a ton. It does something. Inner Beast is okay, but you really need that Primal Roar before you can really contribute. So that's a timing issue. You can tell he's really focusing on farming. He's not really doing anything else. He's not pushing out any lanes. He is scouting now. Now that the ward situation is not as good as it was, he is not buying wards. And in the other games I've cast, the supports are always buying wards. He's not exactly support. He's level position 4 here behind, position 3 potentially, behind the Tusk, behind the Ancient Apparition. He needs to buy items. He needs to get a Blink Dagger. He's obviously going to get some boots here. And my understanding is Beastmaster typically goes for Necronomicon in order to help push, because he's got the minions and he's got the Inner Beast, and that helps. So right now, he went back, get some heals. He's setting up for the Necronomicon. He already purchased the Belt of Strength, which is an important purchase for him. He needs to be able to survive as long as possible so he can get off his Primal Roar. That little bit of extra health is helpful. He's in lane. He's going to be pushing this lane a little bit. I think he's left the lane long enough. Maybe he feels comfortable being in lane. He does have the Hawk scouting in the jungle. You can see my little mouse there. He's going through just to make sure there are no ganks coming his way. If he's paying attention to the map, though, he should see there's only one hero on the map. He doesn't see the Chaos Knight. He only sees the Death Prophet in mid, so I'm surprised he's actually here. I might be a little scared of what's going on. I'm not sure that... Okay, so he should see at this point that his team is being ganked at the tier 2 mid. He's not leaving. He's going over to buy a TP. He doesn't have a TP. He bought a TP. He only has 15 seconds before he can use it, by the time the team fight's going to be over. So instead he chooses to push this lane. He's using both boars. To do that, he's got the Hawk set over to the left a little bit, which is right where you would want your own ward, so you can see what's going on behind that tower. You want to be able to push that tower without fear of being ganked. And you know, he should know to a certain extent that he shouldn't be too worried about it, because you can see all the enemy heroes are in mid lane looking to gank his teammates. But he also used the Hawk a little bit to the south. He wants to see if there's anybody sitting back there TP'd in behind the towers. He does have his level 6 Primal Roar. He is still nice. He's not going top. That's somebody else is going top. That's going to be the Lone Druid back to safe lane. Looks like he's got Ancient Apparition and the Dragon Knight and Tusk all sitting mid. That's a decent combo. They should be able to survive. Dragon Knight being tanky, Tusk being there to prevent any massive ults. Save them during an ult, potentially. But he's just scouting. The Hawk to the left. He's got the boars pushing the tower. He's not just letting them die to the tower, which is smart. He needs to maximize the amount of damage he can do with them. Continuously resummons the Hawk, and notice what he's doing. He summons one Hawk, and he moves the Hawk. As he's getting ready to be able to summon the second Hawk, he actually moves the other Hawk through the jungle to his teammates. So he knows he's going to have vision. There wasn't anything in the area a few seconds ago, so he's going to scout a little bit further, and he's going to have another Hawk in a second, so he doesn't have to worry about bringing that other Hawk back. Goes ahead and buys the Staff Wizardry. He's actually even Iron Taloning these creeps just to keep the pressure on as much as possible. I think the calculation here is, look, they put a Winter Wyvern here. That's not enough. That's not going to stop mind control. And so it's clear that, okay, the Chaos Knight, if he sees the Chaos Knight, is top lane. And it's pretty clear the Chaos Knight's not safe lane farming, so why not just keep pushing? He's probably really scared right now. He's really trying to make sure he doesn't get ganks. So he's got those 3 wards and then his jungle, and pretty much watching any potential gank attempt coming into the woods, and he's got the Hawk to the south of the tower. There's virtually no way. If anybody comes in this area, he's going to know it. He will know exactly what's coming on, so he's completely safe to farm. Push this tower. He has no risk whatsoever. He's not leaving. He's not supporting other lanes. He's doing what he can do best, which is push these towers, especially right now that there's a catapult. In fact, he's got it so low, he's letting the Wild Boars die because he needs to get this thing down. He's so close. He wants to save the catapult, which is going to do probably more damage than the Boars. He should be able to get this. You look over to the left. On the mini-map, there's absolutely nobody coming in. He sees enemies in the top lane. He sees enemies in his own jungle, and he sees enemies near the mid lane, but he doesn't see anything. So he's sitting at less than half health. He's not afraid at all. He doesn't have to leave the lane. He hasn't even popped his Fairy Fire, which he'll wait until the last minute to do that. But just pushing. Building up his Necronomicon so he can push even harder. So he's got 4 teammates in mid. I'm curious to know what he's going to do here.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
He might feel like his teammates are doing well enough, but the score is only 5-4. They're up only 1. He does see somebody. Oh, I'm not sure that's a bounty hunter, so I'm not sure it's invisible. I'm not sure he sees that. But he's not looking there. He's clearly trying to micro this little boar while he stays way back. And he doesn't have a Hawk behind this tower, so that makes sense. And he's got a couple teammates in there right above him. He doesn't want to get too far forward out of range of them. So if he does get ganked, he wants them to be able to come in and support. He stays as far south toward the trees as possible. Okay, now he's going a little bit north while his boars are pushing. He's got Jerax there. Okay, he gets hit on by a bounty hunter. Is he going to turn and do something about this? Oh, he gets Reality Rifted by the Chaos Knight. He ults the Chaos Knight. There's an Ancient Apparition ult. And both the Roar actually kills, helps kill both. And he actually gets away from this. And I want to go back and watch that one more time. So it starts off, and I'll slow this down just to make sure we can catch it. He gets hit by Fear. Fear does that to pop the Clarity. They got 2 support heroes here, so he immediately ults as soon as Owie goes on him. Darkseer ult is on him as well, but the really nasty combo there is the Roar into the Jerax Snowball into the Kuroki Ancient Apparition ult, which just does a ridiculous amount of magic damage. And that leaves mind control to leave. And I'm curious to see if he's been microing before. He does cast the Necronomicon. He had that just in time. He's used the Necronomicon. I think the Necronomicon. Yeah, the little Necronomicon units there. He's using his boar, everything he can to do damage to those guys. He was a great deal of the damage, and he's able to survive. Any less damage he would have dealt potentially would have resulted in his death. Any less damage he would have dealt potentially would have resulted in the enemy not dying. So he did a really fantastic job there. And he just used the roar as kind of a counter-initiation tool. He ended up getting the invisible unit, Bounty Hunter, there by accident. And because his teammates were sitting in the jungle, you know, those aren't carries. Those carries were farming away. I think DK did actually come in and end up help clean that up as well. But really, it was just the Snowball, the Ancient Apparition ult, and the Roar that was able to get the kills on a Chaos Knight and the Bounty Hunter. And they were able to clean up a third there as well. I believe the Darkseer, potentially, which had ulted as well on top of him. So, he's back in lane. He is kind of seeing what's going on in the jungle. He's got a friend down there in the jungle. He's checking out Fada. Want to see what Fada's doing. He's got the Necronomicon level 2. He's clearly prioritizing that. Doesn't want to get a Blink Dagger yet. He wants to be able to push this tower and do a lot of damage, and the Necronomicon 3 does have invisibility. He needs to be able to see what's going on in the jungle to the left of him. That's the biggest risk. He goes ahead, puts the Hawk. He's kind of tracking the Hawk. See, he's microing there. He wants to see what's going on. He puts it where a ward would be, using it as a mobile ward, which really is what the Hawk is. But of course, if it's stationary, it's invisible, like a mobile ward. He wants to scout Roshan, to see what's going on. He sees the bounty rune there. Yeah, nobody taking out Roshan, so he feels okay. He's actually staying way far back. Now, this is a great thing to look at here, because all perspective. Okay, I'm looking at everything. Let me switch to him. He is sitting here in the lane. He has two teammates that are hiding, and he has two other teammates that are hiding. Now, why? It's pretty clear to me he scouted Roshan with the Hawk. He's got a boar in the lane. They see nothing in the jungle over here. Where is the enemy team? Where is EG? And they're one of a few places. They're right here, and they're getting ready to gank either the mid or him, or they're over here, because they're not there. And so these guys, his teammates, are hiding. You got the Spirit Bear that's up on the hill to see if they can track anybody who's coming through this area. He's got the Hawk here to see if anybody's going into Roshan. Meanwhile, he's staying the heck out. He's staying the heck away. He is hiding in the jungle. This is game sense. This is the team knowing that there's something going on. And if you weren't paying very close attention in your games, you might be ganked here. So let's actually find out, where is the enemy team? Oh, right there in the jungle, trying to gank his team, trying to gank Mind Control's team. So, you know, it's a very smart move on his part. I'll go ahead and just play again. But in this team's part, Liquid knows something's up. And now the Spirit Bear is going to die up there north. You can actually see that Spirit Bear die. The whole team is up there. They avoid the gank. Spirit Bears, I think, 300 or 400 gold. Decent money grab, but they don't give up a kill on Hero, which is much nice. Very nice. They're able to avoid that entirely. The question is whether he TP. He actually can't TP. Oh, he's TPing now. I'm sorry. He TP's into mid lane. He's ready to fight. He is sitting back with the Chaos Dragon Knight. Oh, he actually smokes up. I think that was the Jerax smoke. He's got the Hawk sitting there. They were able to see the Winter Wyvern. Winter Wyvern doesn't know that he sees them. And he snowball in. Walrus Punch on PPD. He's sitting back. He casts his Necro units. He actually, I think that's Winter Wyvern ult in a Necro unit. That's not a good idea. He hasn't cast his ult yet. He hasn't contributed axes yet. Here comes the Ancient Apparition on the Bulba. Still hasn't used the ult. There's the ult on Sumail, capturing the Death Prophet. And he's able to, he's actually attacking Owie. One-on-one with Owie, but it's actually 5-on-1. But he was sitting there hitting back and forth with Owie. The whole team actually cleaned up the rest of the enemy team there. The rest of EG able to kill Owie. So that's a sweep. Chaos Knight down. Everybody, I guess, but the Bounty Hunter. And now they're going to push. He doesn't go bottom lane. You need to get this tower as quickly as possible. Darkseer's up in 7 seconds. Chaos Knight's up pretty quickly. This is still pretty early in the game. We're going to put as much effort into this as possible. Now I want to pay attention here to something else. what is his summons doing? So he has 2 summons here. He's using both of them to attack the tower. The question is, where is the hawk? I'm guessing, yeah. The hawk is right here. He needs to see, so he could use it to go down here. He might use a little boar to come down here. But he's got pretty good vision, and he can see right here to see if anybody's trying to walk into the woods. He sees the TP, so he shouldn't really need one down here. But he doesn't have any vision of what's going on this hill. And if the enemy team, if EG were to smoke up, walk around here, and come over here, and then they'd be all backsided. You got the Dragon Knight, the Ancient Apparition, 2 very rich targets, especially Ancient Apparition. Ult is probably up soon. Yeah. Ancient Apparition ult's up in 1 second. The Ice Blast. So if they were to come in and get a kill on Kuroki, they would eliminate the possibility of an Ice Blast, and they'd be able to blow up Fata, potentially with a ton of damage. Or Rowdy Rift Fata up to the top, and then everybody would have to come up to the top to try to defend Fata, and that's not a very good idea. So he's using this, his summons to the maximum. So you can see what's going on. He backs up a little bit. I'm missing this. Let me back up. So he sees the TPs. He sees the. If he gets tracked, he's got a decent amount of damage to Apparition, Ice Shards. He's backing up. He wants to be able to get away from this. He's pretty low. He can easily die in an ult, and they actually get another kill. He also can easily die with the Shuriken Toss from the Bounty Hunter, but he's able to escape. He is tracked up. Jerex is tracked up, so he really needs to get out. That makes a lot of sense. He's still using the Hawk. He's not giving up on that. He wants to see what's going on behind his enemy lines. He's not exposing his Hawk to direct attack. He's now, because he wants to see what's going on. He's going to lose that Hawk. He wants to lose the vision. He looks like he's going to try to get a last hit with the boar. He doesn't get the last hit. Wonder if he tries to, what he's doing here. Okay, so he's just trying to get a little bit of, I guess a couple last hits there. He's going to go ahead and let, oh, that's an interesting image there. That's a nude Dragon Knight. Interesting. Some graphics glitches here. I don't think I've ever seen a nude Dragon Knight. Look at that. I can't click on there. Well, that's fun to look at. Well, anyway, what is he doing? Okay, so he went back to base. He got some health, got Necronomicon. 3? I don't know if he had Necronomicon 3 for the last fight. He probably did, although he doesn't have any money, so maybe he did just get that. He's scouting to the right with the Hawk. He didn't want to have his team get caught out of... he didn't see anybody there. He had wards to the left already, so he was scouting to the right. So really keeping a constant kind of cone of vision around his hero and around his allies. He wants to see what's going on at all times. He doesn't have a ward to the top, so he's got a Hawk up top. He's got a Hawk to... with him. He's going to probably put that down a little bit south between these 2 towers, between the tier 2 towers. That's exactly where he puts it. He's smoked up currently. He's going to move into the jungle, which is the only other place where the enemy can be. He's got vision of pretty much everywhere else. And the smoke pops, which whoever actually ults Kuroki there. Mind control actually hitting Kuroki. He turns around. He's currently silenced. He can't cast his ult. He's trying to run away. He gets a little assist there from Jerex. He goes into, he's going to go up into the woods here. He's getting chased pretty hard, and there's a boar summon. Oh my gosh! So there is a boar summon, and that is actually a really amazing play right there. He's getting chased. He walks in, apparently in some little crevice. He clicks here. Before he goes up, he hits the S button to stop. He casts the boar to block Sumail from going up after him, so Sumail has to then go back around. That is an absolutely fantastic play. That gives Sumail the time he needs, and he's microing the boar. He's using the boar. He needed to use the boar to get slows on Sumail, and at this point, the boar is going to have a 40% walk speed slow. That's his escape mechanism.
Tower is under attack.
And he used it brilliantly there for the additional clog. I'm not sure that was intentional, but he did clog the path for Sumail and prevent Sumail from being able to kill him and get a kill. So really good escape. Good job by him. Comes back to base, gets his town a scroll portal, wants to be able to participate in the fight. I'm going to go ahead and back this up to 1x. Can't TP in. He's going to have to watch his friend die if that's what's happening. He watched him. He didn't die, though. Continues with the Hawk cast. The Hawk's got pretty good vision right now. Look at the vision. You can see it as it moves along through the tree line. Over here, it's able to see a pretty decent radius around it. And once it's stationary, it's going to be just like a ward, invisible. He's using it to protect his friend, in this case, the Lone Druid. He wants to make sure that the Lone Druid does not get ganked to the west. And there's only 2 people on the map right now. He sees 2 people on the map. Actually went over to see what was going on over there. So, but there could be others. And so he actually parks that Hawk. I think the Hawk actually died. Okay, the Hawk didn't die. He just used the Hawk to keep scouting to the north. I want to see what was going on. So he's sitting in the woods. He is, I want to go back and make sure I'm following what he's doing here in the woods. So he's actually farming through, and this is a good example. He uses the wild axes to cut through that camp, so he doesn't have to go around. He wants to be as efficient as possible. And he actually, I think he just saw somebody come in, so he's kind of running away. He's got the Hawk. The Hawk's getting attacked. He's going to back out of this. But he's spending time in the jungle, farming the enemy jungle. He's got the Iron Talon. He's got the Necro unit. He can see invisibility with the Necro unit. He's got the Roar if he needs to get the hell out of dodge. He's got the Hawk for vision. He's got the Boar to help kill the creeps. He's going to stay there, kind of like the way a Storm Spirit plays at this point in the game. A Storm Spirit just spends all the time in the enemy woods. And he's kind of playing that role, similarly to a Broodmother, actually. Continuing to push the lane, lots of good vision, seeing what's going on. The Broodmother doesn't have as nearly as good vision, but the Broodmother does stay in the lane like that and choke off the enemy jungle. That's one of the very powerful aspects of Broodmother. In this case, he's using all of his abilities to kind of play the same role and choke off the enemy's resources. And, you know, the Chaos Knight can't farm there, and if he was going to farm there, he'd have to farm his 5, because the Beastmaster would have the call of the Wild Hawk. He would have the Roar, and he'd be able to immediately see what was going on with the Chaos Knight, and be able to summon his allies to help. So, and by the other thing, that when you have control of the enemy jungle like this, you're able to get Roshan. And that's what they do here. Team fight breaks out. These guys' Necronomicon units out. They pop those for the ult. Pop those for the Roshan. His team actually cleans things up without him even really participating. He does cast his boars. He's got Necronomicon units, but he's not going to do much. Now he's able to get a Roar, last second Roar on Owie there after the, I guess after the Fada stun, the Dragon Knight wore off. So he's ensuring that kill. That was well worth a Roar on a priority 1 target. Owie's Chaos Knight. And what does he do? He goes back to choking off the enemy jungle, using Hawks to scan off to the left. He's got a Hawk sitting over by the entrance to where he is. He's pushing the wave a little bit, not too hard. He's only got half health. He could potentially die to a bounty hunter here. In fact, he doesn't realize there's actually a bounty hunter right next to him. His friend is in town. He's not too worried about a bounty hunter gang. Perhaps. Maybe he should be. Necronomicon up in a few seconds. He's got the board coming up in a few seconds. He's scouting out. Wants to see what's going on. And, of course, he sees that Death Prophet come in. He even clicks on the Death Prophet to see what she has. He's staying back. He doesn't want to be the frontliner on this. He wants to keep vision. He doesn't want to die. He wants to be able to wait for his Roar to come back up and use his Roar and keep his Necronomicon units available. He actually buys a health potion and a clarity to stay. It looks like to stay in lane. Now he gets tracked. Winter Wyvern goes on top of him. Bounty Hunter's going to finally come in. But yeah, Bounty Hunter actually gets roared. And I have a feeling he is. Yeah, there's an ult on the Necronomicon unit. Beastmaster gets killed by the Winter Wyvern Bounty Hunter combo, and that's maybe what Bounty Hunter was trying to set up there all along. But there's a lot of time passed, and the Lone Druid was able to come in and prevent, I think, to get the kill on the tower. Although I'm not sure that the tower might have been denied, I'm not sure. But meanwhile, he is farming the lane with his Necronomicon unit still up. Getting a couple last hits there. Every last bit of advantage he can possibly get. He's got enough for a Blink Dagger, or almost enough. And that's what he's been saving up for. After he gets Necro 3, his role shifts a bit. He is, of course, going to continue in the same way he has been, constantly scouting with the Hawks, moving across the map, one after another, constantly pushing the lanes with the boars and helping farm with the boars, pushing the towers, the Necronomicon unit, and getting vision over the Bounty Hunter. But now he's got a blink, and he's going to be able to blink into a team fight from behind and roar potentially changing the way these fights go. And for 23 minutes, EG has not been used to this, and currently they don't see the Blink Dagger. They have yet to see what's going on. Looks like Liquid's getting ready to set up for a kill on this. This is a 4-second potential alt. Actually, it's not 4 seconds yet. It's level 2. He's almost level 12. This is the big hump here. He's got 3.5-second alt and an AoE radius. Looks like his team's trying to use it. In fact, there's some scans here in the jungle. They want to see if there's anybody over here. He does have his Hawk scouting to the west. They really want to kill. They really want to be able to get a kill. They thought they'd find an enemy there. I think somebody was probably farming there. They weren't able to do it. Still hasn't revealed this Blink Dagger as far as I know. Using as many units to scout as he can right now. He's got the boar in lane. He's got the Hawk scouting down through this jungle to see if he's about to get ganked, because they are going to be right across the river there. They want to get ganked. So constantly seeing where the enemy is, constantly using these Hawks. That is his main job right now. And I think that's really... Okay, so his team just wipes Chaos Knight, and that's the advantage of owning the jungle. Chaos Knight goes out to farm just a little bit, and he gets killed. And what else is he going to do? He can't farm other lanes either, because the enemy, Liquid, was just in the northern jungle there. Okay, he actually captures... Okay, I missed this. So apparently there's vision. There's a ward that somebody dropped here. So they were able to see Fear under this ward. He can see him. You can see he's watching Fear, see where Fear goes. He's micromanaging the courier. Somebody's micromanaging the courier. Vada is in Viz, trying to go get Fear. Can't get to him. Blink Dagger from Mind Control. He sees Fear once again with the Necro unit. As soon as he gets there, he casts Necro unit to get vision. He casts alt. There's a decent amount of damage already going on to Fear just from these Necro units. Fear disappears, but the Necro unit is back. He actually microed that Necro unit into the river so he could get vision on Fear. And then Jerax comes in with the Walrus Punch. Snowball Walrus Punch gets a kill on Fear. That is a really fantastic play, and it really is worth watching even one more time. Vision from one ward. It's on Fear. Somebody's micromanaging the courier. They're using almost the courier as bait on Fear. Beastmaster is moving as quickly as he can up here. He blinks to the farthest point. He immediately casts Necronomicon. He immediately ults after casting the boar. He wants to slow, get as much damage out there. He ults, but he disappears. But he knew that was coming. He knew that he was going to potentially lose vision. So the entire time he had sent his other Necro unit, the one that sees Viz units, around. He knew there was a ward to the south, which would have seen Fear if he retreated. There's no way Fear is going back down the river, south of the river. So the only direction he would potentially go would be further north of the river. Fear can't jump. He doesn't have any kind of force staff or anything. So this was really well played by Mind Control. Really well played.
That gets my seal of approval. Beastmaster thanks you.
So having the Chaos Knight down and the Bounty Hunter down, there's no tracks at the moment. They're down two guys. They only have 3 left. There's no way the enemy's going to be able to fight this. EG is very weak. Now we get to the high ground push. He uses his Necro units to push mid. He actually uses the Hawk to scout between these 2 towers, the tier 3 towers, and he's staying back. He doesn't want to get too close. I'm guessing he wants to make sure he has that damage aura. He wants the enemy to go on the Dragon Knight if at all possible. He does have the blink. Potentially, if he can have a second roar here up, he's able to get one. Able to get the cooldown done. He keeps casting the Hawks. He just stays back. He's not really walking up and dying, and I think that makes a lot of sense. He's only doing 100 damage per hit.
Radiant's top tower is under
He
attack.
just wants to be careful. He casts the boar. That's his fight unit. He uses the boar to slow people. He's micromanaging the boar and a couple different heroes. He did actually do that. He wasn't using his damage. He was using his slow, an attack speed slow and a move slow. And he's just getting the hell out.
Radiant's top tower
Although
is under attack.
he stops, gets a little more farm. He's got 1,400. Not sure what he's going to go for. I guess he realized the enemy was back in mid. He saw the little sentry there. He's got his Hawks. This is where he's going to settle down. He doesn't retreat all the way back. I probably would have done that. He instead is farming this area. keeping pressure on the enemy, and potentially getting ganks if there's vision. And in this particular case, they got vision, and that was the Necker units once
Down
again.
for the
Just
count.
running around, seeing what's going on. I think Fata or Jurex may have also had a dust. So they may have, I think they dusted at the same time. I'm not sure which one was first. I'm guessing the Necker units were first. So while his team is going mid, he is sending his Necker units to help farm a little bit more. He doesn't want to expose those. He doesn't have a tower to push at the moment. He doesn't want to just lose them. So I guess he's using them to the maximum advantage. Continuing to use Iron Talon, get that maximum use out of that. Continuing to use the boars, continuing to choke off the enemy jungle. Uses the axe to cut through these trees. He doesn't have to walk around. He's farming as efficiently as possible. He's got 2,300 gold. I'm not sure what he buys. He's already got Necro 3. He's probably going to get Boots of Travel, I'm guessing, next. But he's also probably saving up for buyback. He's backing up. He actually left the jungle, and I want to go back and find out why. When did he leave the jungle? So he's sitting here. He sees... I guess he saw an enemy... Okay, so right now, the only person on the map, he sees 2 people on the map. 3 people on the map. He's got Death Prophet bottom. He had 2 mid. Death Prophet backs up. He's still farming. He's still farming. Now the creep wave is pushing in. The creep wave is directly below him. Notice he's staying behind the creep wave. He's not going further than the creep wave. He needs to have vision of this area. In fact, Ancient Apparition ults, I think, just to try to get a kill on. Hopefully a kill on Death Prophet. Doesn't do that. But Death Prophet's moving forward. That's the other thing that he just saw. If he sees Death Prophet moving forward, he doesn't have vision of it anymore, then that's why he's getting out. The creep wave is way behind him. He only has 1 friend with him. The Ancient Apparition was already cast. Yeah, see, he just avoided the gank. Very smart. That's I think, something that... You know, the other casts, I've watched pro players, and I really haven't been all that impressed with the technical skill or anything like that. This is a game where you saw the proficiency, the micromanaging skills of mind control with that, with the boar, constantly with the boar. Okay, so I'll get back to this. It's a team fight now. He comes back down. I don't think he's even going to be able to get within range. He's got a blink dagger. You can probably go ahead and ult this Sumail. There it is. Ult Sumail. As soon as Sumail comes in, sets up for the kill. The enemy team was already pushed back, so Liquid's able to get a kill on Sumail. That was set up by an ultimate. Sumail ended up being out of position on that one. He thought he was going to be able to backstab the Liquid team, but look at that. Game already. So that's a very interesting end of the game. I guess they just realized there was no way. But I think, you know, what Mind Control is really impressed. I'm really impressed with his play in this game. As I was saying, in other teams I have watched, or other plays I have watched, they really haven't been that impressive. It's very basic ideas. They just kind of play the role and they play it well. They haven't done anything crazy. But in this particular game, I've seen a couple of plays by Mind Control that really impressed me. I think the vision, the constant vision on the map, constantly, you know, moving the Hawk in the most efficient way possible, across from one jungle to the other as he summons them, staying out of lane, preventing the Chaos Knight from getting any kills on him, which would have been good. He has a very quick Iron Talon. He farms in the jungle. He gets, I think, a little slow level 6, but he doesn't do anything until he gets there, so that's good. But then you look at that impressive play with the boar, when he was being chased by, I believe it was a Death Prophet by Sumail, and he goes into he kind of jukes into the woods, casts the boar to block off the area, and then continues on, and not just blocking the area off to Sumail, but then the boar is able to slow Sumail through the woods so that Sumail can't possibly follow him, TP's out. Really good play there. Also really good play on the Bounty Hunter. And he got an Necronomicon, very important, I think, for this game, not just for the push potential on Beastmaster. I think that's a pretty standard build for him, but also be able to see the Bounty Hunter. There's a number of times he was able to see the Bounty Hunter and get kills in the Bounty Hunter because of that ult, or because of that Necronomicon. And in that one play where there was one ward and the Dragon Knight got vision of the Bounty Hunter, they set it up perfectly. He immediately moved to try to intercept the Bounty Hunter. He got up to close enough range. He blinked in to within range of the bounty hunter. He cast the necro unit first. Then he roared. Cast the boar, actually, I think, as well. He cast both the necro unit and the boar. Then he roared. He knew he was going to hit the guy, even if he couldn't see him. And then he immediately moved the Necronomicon unit into position on the other side of the river so that when Bounty Hunter was to recover from the stun, Bounty Hunter would be once again within vision of the Necronomicon unit, within sentry vision of the Necronomicon unit. And they were able to get a kill. Very important kill there. And then finally, just this last little team fight. I think it's he played this so well because of how he backed off. He avoided the gank. He was watching this play down here south. He saw the Death Prophet. And this is Sumail giving away information. Because here's the Ancient Apparition ult. He sees the ult go off. Where does Sumail go? He goes north. And he doesn't back up. He's following the creep wave. And that immediately tips off mind control. Hey, what's going on here? I'm not entirely sure. Let's farm a little bit more because in my immediate area, I've got the Hawk to the southwest. I'm not in immediate danger, but something's happening here. I do need to be careful, so he continues to back off. He actually used his units to kill those neutrals as he was pulling back. So even as he was getting himself personally out of danger, he was using his units to farm and choke off the enemy jungle. That's got to be frustrating because at this point in time, once again, EG lose a kill. Winter Wyvern committed. Got a Chaos Knight committed now. You can see the Chaos Knight was there. You know a Death Prophet is there somewhere. And so what they've done is they've really irritated. They got the entire enemy team sitting there. They know the entire enemy team is sitting there. He's lured them in. He lured them in being in this jungle. And what does this team do in response? They smoke up. They get ready to counter-initiate. He's got his Hawk there, getting vision of everything. He sees what's going on. He's continuing to micro the Hawk. He wants to follow the action. He wants to see what's going on. He actually gets the Hawk killed by the ice shards. But then there's the initiation from his teammates to get in. He is closing the gap here. He wants to get behind. He probably was going to ult Alley if possible. But then he sees the Death Prophet. He ults the Death Prophet, stops any potential additional damage. Enemy team is pushed back. The whole team is able to get a kill on Death Prophet. They're able to steamroll at this point. The kills are already on Death Prophet, went to Wyvern. Just a matter of time over ball when now would go out. And that's game. How frustrating is that? There was basically so well executed by his team. The vision, enemy team never getting any ganks on him, I think was what was so impressive about his gameplay. Really good job. I think he had, what, 2 deaths? 1 death? He had 1 death. 10 assists, and the stats don't show his contribution to this game. And so, freaking scrubs out there are always talking about, oh, you only got 1 kill or 2 kills. I mean, there's plenty of games you cast where the kills don't matter and the deaths don't matter. It's a matter of whether your team wins, obviously. Are you winning objectives? You can be behind the kills and actually still win. And I think people don't realize that as much, at least at my MMR, which will go unknown at the moment. So that's been another episode of Scrubcast. I hope you enjoyed watching a Liquid mind control Beastmaster basically choke off and help assist in the kill on EG, get some really important ganks, get some really good vision and control, and show EG the power of a good Beastmaster. You all have a fantastic day, and good luck and have fun in your next games.